Hello everyone, and today, following up off of yesterday's video, we're going to be talking about Adventure Tenyi. So this is, one could consider it an evolution upon the previous list. I would say it's a totally different deck type in its own right, but it does follow alongside a lot of similar concepts to them. So this is the deck that got us from DV level 19 up to 20, finalized the pass for us. Now we used Sword Soul Tenyis to get to 19, and this deck here finished it off. Very, very powerful here. It has a much higher ceiling in terms of its boards. It has decent breaking power. It's just a touch more inconsistent, but it can play through more interruptions than the other Sword Soul version. So there are pros and cons. Ultimately, I do think this deck list in particular is better than the previous. This may not necessarily be the best way of playing the deck, but it's definitely the way I've had the most success with and the way I find the most fun. There's a whole load of different things going on, and it's quite enjoyable to play. We'll be going through a detailed deck breakdown at the end, so stick around for that because you're going to need to, and more importantly, watch the gameplay. I'm not going to be able to plan out a fixed combo route for you. I'm going to talk about some of your key combo starters, some of your key plays, but learning how to play this deck is going to be a case of learning how to play ad hoc and making plays up as you go along. There are certain combo routes that are consistent and that you would follow, but with the deck, there's so much flexibility that realistically you can combo off with almost anything. So do watch the gameplay. It's going to be particularly important in this recipe, but stick around for the breakdown at the end. And if you do want to get notified about more videos and things like that coming out from the channel, do subscribe. You know, it doesn't cost you anything and it helps me out an awful lot, so I would appreciate it. And if you've got any suggestions or requests, leave them down in the comments. Now, we will of course be streaming this should be going up on Wednesday, so a Tuesday, sorry, so it'll be 2 days after this video. Then on the Thursday we should be streaming again. It's probably going to be 5 PM BST to 9 PM BST. Now notifications and time frames and everything will be confirmed in the Discord, so if you are curious about showing up to the streams, or if you just want to get in and chat to myself or anyone else who enjoys playing the game, do consider jumping into the Discord, and that's where all of that is centered. And with no further ado, let's get into game number one. Alrighty, getting into game number one here. Now this is a game without any of our core starters, so what we're going to do is use number 42, the Galaxy Tomahawk, as the starter for this hand. So we're going to activate Ashuna to special summon itself and chain the Griffin so we can summon both. We're going to go into number 42, detach both materials here, and we're going to summon out Battle Eagle tokens to all of our available monster zones. Now we summoned him there on purpose instead of the extra monster zone, so that when we go into Aurora Dawn, we have enough open monster zones to summon out 3 tokens. So that's very, very important. Now using the Aurora Dawn, we tribute itself and a token to summon the O-Lion. O-Lion and the token goes into Denglong. Denglong will add 9 Pillars of the Yangzing from your deck to your hand, which is a counter trap. Negate anything in the field by destroying a Yangzing, and we also get an additional token. So now we're going to send the Ashuna from the deck to the graveyard to change the Denglong into a level 7, because it will copy the level of a worm monster you send to the graveyard. We use it and a level 3 token to go into Baron de Fleur. Whenever Denglong is sent to the grave, it will summon the Chi Wen out from the deck. We're going to use Chi Wen, a level 3 token and a level 6 token to go into our Supreme Sovereign. Banish the Ashuna to summon out Atara from the deck, then tune the level 6 token and the Atara into Yazi. Pop the Yazi off of Baron de Fleur, which will then summon a worm monster from the deck and will allow Chi Wen to resummon itself to the field, so your 9 pillars is live. So again, lots of plays going on. Taya off the Yazi then is going to banish a worm from the grave to summon a token. Then we're going to synchro summon into Draco Berserker of the Tenyi, just in case we were going up against an Eldritch player, because the Draco Berserker is very, very powerful. We're going to special summon out the Arch Nemesis Protoss as well by banishing 3 different attributes in the grave. Our opponent now cannot use water attribute monsters. So this would help a lot in the mirror match playing against Sword Soul. That means they cannot use any of their tokens or anything. They're going to go for Pot of Prosperity here, revealing that they are in fact playing Eldritch the Golden Lord. So it's a good thing that we chose the Draco Berserker, because he's very, very powerful in this particular matchup. Now our opponent's going to tribute 2 of our monsters for a Lava Golem right off the bat, so that really damages our board a lot. He left out the Berserker, the Chi Wen, and the Proto, so we still have plays. He's going to go for the Golden Lord. We're going to flip up Call by the Grave. We're going to banish the Golden Lord from the graveyard. One of the most satisfying things you can do in Yu-Gi-Oh! Is hit and Eldritch the Golden Lord with Call by the Grave. Now our opponent's going to struggle an awful lot to recover from this here. They're going to sit 3 and pass back to us. Now we do have a Lay of Omni negate whenever we want. Our opponent tries to destroy our board using Gozen Match. We're going to stop that with the 9 Pillars of the Yang Zing. And our opponent realizes that this is going to be a very, very difficult uphill battle, and they don't really know what to do about it. Lava Golem's going to burn us for 1,000 here, but our opponent has had enough. He scoops it up. So again, showing that even against the likes of Eldritch, the deck is very powerful. We did get hit with a Lava Golem, which was unfortunate. He got rid of both of our level 10 synchros, but even through that, we were still able to stop him from playing the game. So very, very decent showing of the full sort of combo as such. Just sort of playing cards as much as you can. You just press yes on everything. And the deck sort of goes a bit nuts. We also have the Adventure Engine in there. You can see the Rite of Aramasir in the hand to back it all up with a little bit of extra power here. We did go up against quite a lot of Eldritch in the final push up to DV level 20, so we do have another Eldritch game, which is considerably longer. So let's get into that matchup now. Alright, looking at our hand, we're in a decent-ish position. Our opponent opens up with Pot of Prosperity again. Now they're going to check the top cards of their deck, telling us right away that they're playing Eldritch and that they have Sphere Mode in their deck, which is a massive threat, something that we should be aware of. They grab the Cursed Eldland and they activate it. They're going to pay 800 here to grab the Golden Lord to their hand. Then they're going to use the Golden Lord's effect, ditch it and a Haquero to send the Cursed Eldland to the grave, so it triggers its effect to send another Golden Lord, set 2 and pass. Haquero then grabbing a Elixir card, from the deck. So they have the ability to summon their final Golden Lord from the deck, as well as 2 additional face down cards. So we normal summon out the Rox Rose Dragon. Our opponent's going to quickly chain to that Elixir of the Scarlet Sanguine. We're going to activate Max C here, just so that we can at least draw a singular card, if not more, throughout the turn. We need sort of all the advantage we can get to crush these, and we're not going to see a lot of good opportunity to use Maxi in this matchup. We're going to grab the Basil Rose shoot from, the Red Rose Dragon from the Rox Rose Dragon, because we already have the shoot, and using it, we're going to summon out the Red Rose Dragon. Using these two, we're going to go in the Crystron Hulk, which will summon Jet Synchron out to the field, and that's when our opponent hits us with Gozen Match, which is very difficult for us. We set 2 and pass. Now we make sure to set Imperm in the column with the Gozen Match. He pops our Hulk, which doesn't really matter at this point. That locks out the Auroradon combo, which is huge. It really does limit us. He's going to set Golden Lamb forever here from the deck, so we're in a tight spot. He uses the Golden Lord here. The Golden Lord in the graveyard. He's going to try and summon it out to the field. We're going to use Cult by the Grave. We're going to banish that one. He does allow it. He doesn't use Golden Land forever because he's got 2 more to play with, I guess, so he's not too worried about that right now. To each their own. Conquistador then banishes itself to grab him Elixir of the Scarlet Sanguine yet again and pass it back to you. So his one and only Conquistador is gone. In the draw phase, he's going to go for an early Sanguine. We're going to negate it using Ash Blossom. We don't need him summoning out any more monsters to the field. We were a little bit worried about the fact he could possibly summon a Doom King off of that instead of just a Golden Lord. So we don't want to run that risk. And we're not going to see a lot of good opportunities to use Ash Blossom anyway. We go to use Sword Soul Emergence, and that's when he hits us with that Golden Land Forever trap card. Unfortunately, we cannot link summon into the Monk because of the Gozen Match. The Gozen Match is really hurting us here, and we didn't want to give up our one and only Imperm opportunity just to return it to the hand for it to come back next turn. We need to make sure that we're setting up our pieces correctly, so when we have the opportunity to take advantage of that Imperm, that we're doing it. Now here we had a small misplay. I should have just allowed that Extravagance to go through. I didn't see that he only banished 3 cards. It was more than likely bait for an Ash. So a small misplay there. We were just sort of autopiloting a little bit. He's going to summon out the Golden Lord to the field, and it's going to have 3,500 attack points, big enough to take out our Vishuda, which is unfortunate, but at least we're still in the game here. We're going to move into our turn again. The Guardian is going to grab him another Elixir card from his deck. That's his 3rd one, so our opponent's starting to run on fumes here, but not nearly as bad as we are. So he uses the Elixir. Now we're going to chain to that Infinite Impermanence. We're going to negate the effect of his Golden Lord as well as the Gozen Match. We have the Taya, which is the perfect card, just what we were waiting on in order to take advantage of the situation. We're going to normal summon out the Taya. Our opponent goes Rivalry of Warlords here, which actually doesn't impact us at all. We're going to banish Emergence from the graveyard to grab our Sword Soul token, Synchro Summon into Draco Berserker of the Tenyi. Now this is going to give us a huge advantage. We swing into the first Eldritch and take it out, gain its attack points, and we can attack again, so we do 2k over even the biggest of Golden Lords. And now we're in a position where if every time he activates a monster effect, so long as that monster is in the location, is still in the location at resolution as it was upon activation, we're going to be able to banish it. So for example, if he uses the Golden Lord in the graveyard, we can banish the Golden Lord from the grave, thus nullifying the effect. Now that's 2 of his Golden Lords are now banished. It's a really tough spot for him to come back from. All of his Elixirs have been used, so he can't use any of them either. He's going to have to think of another way of using the Golden Lords. We're going to swing for lethal here, but he does have Guardian of the Golden Land to block the hit. We're going to take it out and end our turn. Now, our opponent does still have 1 Eldritch to play with, so they're just waiting on the right opportunity. They're not going to waste it here because they know it would just get them killed. During our draw phase, they're going to go for Skill Drain. That does remove our ability to stop his Eldritch, and it's going to take away our attack point boost. That's very, very unfortunate. It puts us in yet again a tough position. We do have an Imperm in the Goes and Match column. We are sort of, if he puts us in that position again, we're waiting on the opportunity to kick back. We activate here just out of spite. We know exactly what's going to happen. He's going to summon his Golden Lord at 3500 attack, and he's going to destroy us. We already know that's what he's going for. It's one of his few hopes of actually winning this game. So this is a very, very tight match. Both players here, myself and my opponent, are very evenly matched. I know the life point advantage is in our favor, but that's not not everything there is to a match. We're going to activate the Rite of Aramasir here, which is going to grab us an adventure token as well as the Fateful Adventure. Now that we have the token on the field, we can banish Vishuda, return the Golden Lord to the hand, and that is game. We had a few additional plays we could have done, you know, just to be spiteful, I guess, but that's all we needed to do, and that's game. So very, very good match against Eldritch. Shows that the deck, again, it's super bursty and combo-y right out the gate, but that doesn't mean it can't win the grind game, and that's a tough grind game to win against several Floodgates, against a recurring Golden Lord, against several negates. So it's not an easy match for a lot of these sort of bursty combo decks to come back from, but we managed to do it. We managed to grind him down in what was probably one of the best duels on our way to Duelist level 20. So let's get into the game number 3. Alrighty, game number 3 here. Our hand opening up is quite similar to last time. We do sort of mess up our ordering a little bit here by going for the Foolish Adventure first, but that's fine. We're going to special summon out these 2 to go into number 42. Actually, I stand corrected that we didn't mess up our sequencing at all. We're going to go for number 42, summon out our 4 tokens, then we're going to go into the Auroradon, much like last time. And the deck plays a lot of very spammable level 7s. I think it plays 10 in total. So any 2 of those will be able to get you access to this play. Now, he goes to Ash our Auroradon here. We decided to use our Cross-Eye Designator. We were sort of half and half on whether or not to keep it and for a Nibiru, but it didn't seem as though he had one at the time. So that's fine. We're going to get rid of an Ash Blossom from our deck to negate his. That means we get to summon our O-Lion. O-Lion plus one of the Mega Phantom Beast tokens will give you Denglong. Just like last time, Denglong will grab you the 9 pillars as well as the O-Lion grabbing you another token. So we're really working with a lot of tokens here. We get our 9 pillars, which is an Omni Negate. Our Denglong is going to send a Shuna to boost itself to 7. 7 plus 3 will give you Baron de Fleur. That means we have our Omni Negate on board and we're able to summon the Chi Wen out from the deck. Ashuna is going to banish itself to summon Adhara. Adhara plus the Battle Eagle token will give you Yazi. Yazi will get popped by Baron de Fleur to summon out Taya from the deck. We probably could have used the Chi Wen as in a synchro summon before then so that we get to recur it too, but it is what it is. Taya banish one to get a token to go into the Grandmaster. Grandmaster will search our deck for a Sword Soul card, and the Taya will send a worm from deck to graveyard, so we send the Vishuda. We're also going to grab the Emergence here. Now that we control a synchro monster, the Emergence can grab us the Protos, which is a huge boss monster against certain decks. The Enchantress as well is going to banish itself to grab us the Rite of Aramis here, but we have used the effect of a normal summon monster, so that's no bueno. We're going to select Dark, lock our opponent out of Dark type monsters. We're going to return Yazi to the extra deck for some follow-up. We have 2 Omni Negates, we have a third 2 Monster Negates as well, as well as locking our opponent out of all dark monsters. Our opponent's going to open up with the adventure engine as well. The Rite of Aramis here would would summon out the adventure token and grab Fateful Adventure. We're going to shuffle that back into the deck by destroying our Chi Wen. So the Rite of Aramis here does nothing. Our Adhara is going to follow it up here, as well as a Mu Yi. And Mu Yi is going to reveal Taya, but we are going to use Baron de Fleur to negate that. We want to destroy it so he can't use it and the Adhara to go into the Crystron Hakifibrax. We could have probably allowed that and then destroyed Hulk when it came out, but it's not a massive deal. Our opponent's going to go into the Tenyi Spirit to take out our token. It is what it is, we don't really care about that. And he passes priority back to us. So we're going to go into our turn here. Baron de Fleur will tag itself out for Taya, just so that we can recycle the Baron de Fleur, and Taya will be able to banish an emergence to bring out a token. He tries to hit us with the effect veiler here. Luckily, we have another cross-out designator. We're going to stop that effect veiler from doing anything, which is going to be big. Cross-out designator is amazing, especially in a mirror match, because you can banish your opponent's cards. It's really, really solid. We're going to use the Rite of Aramis here as well, grabbing the adventure token and the Fateful Adventure. Synchro summon out into the Borreload Savage Dragon, which can equip on from the graveyard the Auroradon. Fateful Adventure then, upon that summon, is going to grab us a equip spell. Taya in the graveyard will also mill another Tenyi card, Tenyi card, the Vishuda. Dracoback is going to equip onto our token. We're going to grab the Auroradon, Dracoback it returning, and we're going to swing for approximately 4 million damage. So that is nice and easy, quick, simple game here, completely negating our opponent and taking control of the duel. I mean, what more could you ask for in a competition with some of the most competent duelists that are around? And yeah, that's pretty much it for game number 3. Very similar to the first game. You can see the sort of consistency around number 42, as well as some of the sort of chains and combos and plays. The big thing is, can you get into Auroradon, and then the Auroradon from there sort of breaks everything else down. But that's pretty straightforward. Let's get into the deck profile, and we're going to talk about some of the individual cards. Alrighty, so getting into the deck profile, we're going to do what we normally do, talk about interruption cards first. Now, unlike most of our decks, this deck does play more than 40 cards, so it's not a case of like, oh, you have X amount of slots. How many interruptions are we running in terms of just general hand traps? 1, 2, 3, we got Effect Veiler, double Max C, triple Ash, so that's 6. We have Nibiru, that's 7. We have double Call by the Grave, that's 9. We have triple Crosshead Designator, that's 12. 13 with the Droplet, and 16 with the Impermanent. So we have 16 hand traps in this deck. You can cut that down to bring up to 40 cards. You can do whatever you want. We're playing 16, quite a lot, and we're playing a good variety so that we can banish them off of Designator if we need to. Although most of them have come up at their own occasions to actually win us games. So you do whatever you want with those slots. We're playing quite a lot of different interruptions. So Adventure, Tenyi, we're going to cover it in that order. Adventure, so you know what the adventure cards are. Double Enchantress, Water Enchantress of the Temple. We have the Wandering Griffin Rider. We have double Rite of Aramis. We have Dracoback of the Rideable Dragon, and we have Fateful Adventure. That is the core necessary package for Adventure. The Enchantress searches for Rite of Aramis. Rite of Aramis will grab you the Adventure token and the Fateful Adventure. Fateful Adventure will grab you Dracoback and the Wandering Griffin Rider. Griffin Rider summons itself. That's the full combo. It's that easy. I've covered it in previous videos and everyone and their mother's talking about it on YouTube. So I'm not going to sit here and waste your time with it. It's really straightforward and is super applicable in any other engine. You just need to know that on the turn you use the Rite of Aramis, you're not allowed to use the effect of normal summon monsters. That's the only restriction. So that's the adventure part, dead simple. We're going to go into the Tenyi part then. So the Tenyi part, we're playing 3 copies of Vishuda, 3 copies of Ashuna, 1 copy of Adhara. All of these cards can special summon themselves to the field when you control no effect monsters. They also all have an effect they can use when in the hand or the graveyard if you have a non-effect monster on board, like a token. Vishuda will bounce an opponent's card back to hand, great for floodgate removal. Ashuna will summon a worm from deck, but it locks you in the worms for the rest of the turn, so a fantastic extender. And Adhara will return a banished worm back to your hand, so great recovery and follow-up. All of them are really, really good. Their levels are all very important. Adhara being a tuner is super great for Crystron Hulk and such. Vishuda and Ashuna being level 7 is fantastic in combination with the Griffin Rider as well as the Ascent of the Thunder, in order to easily exceed summon out number 42 Galaxy Tomahawk, which we will get to in a moment. So that's the Tenyi cards. Then we have a small Sword Soul package backing it up with the Strategist, which is a 1-card level 10 synchro just by discarding another worm, which is great. That's why he's there. He can also be searched off of Emergence. We have Taya, which you will summon after using Yazi's effect. Taya will banish a worm from graveyard to summon a Sword Soul token, which is a level 4 tuner. So both of these cards are essentially 1-card combos. Taya will be summoned off of Yazi, and the Strategist will either be hard drawn into or will be searched from the Emergence. So that's why they're there. That pretty much wraps up the Sword Soul cards. We're not playing very many of them because we don't need to. We're playing Chiwen, Light of the Yang Xing, and Name Pillars of the Yang Xing alongside Denglong, First of the Yang Xing, as part of a small worm package that you will extend into off the Auroradon. So that's why you're playing them. That covers off the actual Tenyi cards. We're playing the Ascent of the Thunder, 3 copies of the Ascent of the Thunder. It's a free summon, it's a level 7, great extender, great for Exceed material, and all in all, great card. Can't really complain. We're playing the Rose Dragon package because we're playing an awful lot of level 7s already, so you might as well incorporate a bit of level 3 tuner action here. So the Red Rose Dragon is a fantastic card. This, in combination with any of your other level 7s, is a Baron de Fleur as well as a Needle Faber into your Auroradon combo, so that is so powerful. That is your ideal starting. A Red Rose Dragon in one of your other level 7s. Red Rose Dragon, when sent to the graveyard off of a Synchro Summon, will summon the Rox Rose Dragon from the deck. Rox Rose Dragon, when summoned, will grab you the Basil Rose Shoot, and the Basil Rose Shoot will resummon the Red Rose Dragon, and then Red Rose and Rox Rose will go into Hulk. That's your core sort of play. Don't worry about that if I'm going over that super fast. Once you actually play the cards, it all falls into place super nicely. Very straightforward and simple. That is that. We're playing Foolish Burial, mainly to facilitate the Water Enchantress. You can send it to the graveyard, it'll banish itself from grave to search for Red of Armaseer, but it also works with a lot of your Tenyi cards. So do bear in mind the versatility the Foolish Burial will bring to the table. You're playing Jet Synchron and Mecha Phantom Beast O-Lion because you're playing Halkin Auroradon, necessary for the combo. I've covered it 1,000,001 times, so we'll not be going over it here again. Trying to make sure we've covered everything. And yeah, that's pretty much the main deck. Again, we just have our interruption cards as well. Sorry, Arch Nemesis Protoss I didn't cover. This can be searched off of your Emergence, so usually if you have the ability to go into the Grandmaster, you will summon Grandmaster, Grandmaster will search Emergence, Emergence will search Protoss. Protoss can lock your opponent out of summoning a particular attribute for the entirety of their turn, which is amazing. It will also destroy all monsters on the field of that attribute at the time of activation, so even going second, it's great at just wiping out a board. If you're playing against the likes of Flowboundaries, for example, really powerful card. So moving into the extra deck then, so what are the core parts of the combo when it comes to the extra deck? You have Denglong. So the way your combo normally works is you're trying to go into the Auroradon, and that's the main starter. Auroradon will summon out your 3 level 3 tokens, and will tribute itself on one of them to summon the O-Lion. The level 2 and a level 3 token will go into the level 5 Denglong. Level 5 Denglong on summon will search for your 9 pillars, and will send your Ashuna to the graveyard to boost itself to level 7. Or your Vishuda if you already have it. It'll boost itself to level 7, and then this will combine with another one of the level 3 tokens to go into one of your level 10s. You've got your Baron de Fleur, which we've talked about numerous times, and the Supreme Sovereign Cheng Ying, which is a brutally powerful card as well. So that is core. Your Yazi is a core part of the combo. When destroyed, it will summon the Taya from the deck, is basically it. It can destroy itself on a card in your opponent's field, or if you're going first, you can simply pop it off of your Baron de Fleur. So plenty of options there. This will let you extend into the Taya. Taya will let you extend into either the Grandmaster, the Berserker, or the Borreload Savage Dragon, depending on whether or not you're locked in the worms. Speaking of which, we've talked about the Grandmaster already. It also has the ability to negate by banishing a worm from the graveyard. Borreload Savage Dragon is an omni-negate equipping on the Auroradon. The Druko Berserker of the Tenyi is fantastic for OTKs because it just swings in, destroys a monster, gains its attack points, and then can attack again. It will also banish a monster who activates its effect. One important stipulation there: the monster has to be in the location of where the effect was activated after cost has been paid. So in the case of Eldritch the Golden Lord, so when Eldritch the Golden Lord activates its effect in the graveyard, because it is still in the graveyard at the point of resolution, at the point of paying cost, after paying cost, you can banish it. But if the Eldritch the Golden Lord activates its effect in the hand, because it's no longer in the hand after paying the cost for activation, you cannot banish it. So bear in mind that there is some sort of like it's like an invisible stipulation almost. If you're not sure how that ruling works, if you want to sort of chat about it, because it can be a wee bit complicated, you can feel free to jump into the Discord and chat to me about it. We can sort of chat about rulings and specific words and what they mean all day long. So there are quite a few things you need to sort of like know and learn based off of small grammatical things like that. But yeah, all in all, really, really powerful card. You have Boxia, which is great for going second. It just returns a bunch of cards in your opponent's field back to their hand, as well as being able to resummon monsters from your graveyard. Interrupted there. So I believe we're just talking about Boxia. Boxia will return cards on the field back to the deck, which is great. It also has the ability to resurrect a monster from the graveyard by destroying a card on your field. The way that will come up most of the time is by destroying one of your cards and resurrecting a level 1 tuner. Then using Boxia and the tuner, you will summon Xiao Fang. So much as Xiao Fang is on the field, your opponent cannot activate a light monster's effect. So that's the whole point of this being here. Level 1 plus your Boxia will lock them out of light permanently. You can also, if you really extend into it, there's a bit of a complicated combo where you can lock them out of both light and dark with the Xiao Fang. If you have the Qi Wen on the field, right, and you have the Yazi on the field, and you find a way to banish the emergence from the graveyard, you can boost the level of Yazi up to 8. 8 plus 1 with the Qi Wen will give you 9, and because you used both a dark Yangzing and a light Yangzing, Xiao Fang locks your opponent out of both light and dark. That's a bit difficult to set up in this particular version. You can probably build a deck more attuned to doing that if you wanted to, but that's not the focus of this deck. But just something to bear in mind. So that's what Boxia is good for. We Herald of Arclight, just because you'll probably end up with a spare Mecha Phantom Beast token and like a level 1 tuner that can be easily recurred, be it Jet Synchron, be it Qi Wen, be it whatever. So, you know, 3 plus 1, you might as well get a negate out of it with the additional Herald of Arclight. So this is a bit of a niche card. It'll come up here and there. Level 10s we've covered extensively. Number 42, you saw it in the gameplay a couple of times. 2 level 7s, fill your field with tokens. Broken, really, really good starter. Monk of the Tenyi is here just to get your Tenyi effects live if you have no overplays. Striker Dragon is here. So the Striker Dragon here is here specifically for the Rose Dragons. This can totally be cut. The only reason it's here is because there were times where you would want to go into it off of the Rose Dragons. It's very, very niche. You can totally cut this. That's by no means necessary. Maybe put in a second box here or something like that. That's entirely up to yourselves. Then you have Hulk and Auroradon for the Auroradon combo. As simple as that. I'm not going to go into that combo because I've talked about it 1,000,001 times. So that's the full deck. Now, are you going to listen to me chat about this here at the end of the video and learn the deck? No, you're not. If you think you've listened to that description and you've mastered it off of that description, you're nuts. Watch the gameplay, pay attention to the games. You're going to see how some of the bits flow and ebb together. But the ceiling here and the learning curve here is insane. It is a really, really steep learning curve in order to master the deck. Even I probably haven't mastered the deck yet. I'm still sort of learning new things and new interactions as we go along. But I have played this quite a lot and I had quite a lot of fun playing it. So again, absolutely, I would 100% recommend this to anyone. This is a lot of cards, but realistically, this deck is relatively budget friendly. Because the majority of these cards are cards you're going to use in a whole bunch of decks. You know what I mean? Enchantress you're going to use in a bunch of decks. Like in terms of all of these URs in the main deck are cards you will literally use everywhere. The only one that isn't is like this Protos, which is still usable in other decks, just not as many. In terms of the extra deck, a lot of these cards as well are reusable. Baron, Ching Ying, number 42. This is actually free. You get this from the legacy packs. These two cards, you're going to use these in a whole bunch of decks. Borreload Savage Dragon, you use in a bunch of decks. Draco used in a bunch of decks. So there's a whole lot of cards here. While it is a little bit higher on the end of budget, a lot of these cards are reusable. So you'll either A, get a lot of extended value out of them if you do end up crafting them, or if you haven't played this deck yet, there's a solid chance that you already have a bunch of these cards. So I wouldn't even say it's that sort of like budget extensive. I think it's relatively budget friendly given the reusability of the cards. But yeah, I'm going to stop rambling here. I know there's a lot to take in there. Again, I have to emphasize, watch the gameplay, and if you do pick it up, practice before you consider yourself good or bad at it, before you tell the deck it's good or bad, because it is a good, really powerful deck. If you're using it and it sucks, trust me, the deck's not the problem there. If you're playing it like this, the deck is definitely not the problem. But yeah, that's everything I have to say. Subscribe for more if you're curious and you want to see anything else. Leave your suggestions and hop into the Discord if you want to chat. I'll leave you on that note. See y'all later.